Well, we don't have a striker yet. We've been waiting for a striker. There's still no striker rumours, but there's a winger rumour. Stoke City Marko Arnautović has apparently handed in a transfer request because of interest from West Ham United. He fancies his move to the London Stadium. We're here for a quick chat about him, and then you can let us know what you think. Gonzo, what's your initial thoughts on our link to him?
Was Payet was my initial thoughts, actually. Was Payet to Marseille. Was Marseille making a bid for Payet and us saying no and Payet handing a transfer request. So I don't like the way people go about their business these days, actually. I think it's nice that he would want to come to us, but so clearly he knows what we've got to offer so far. But I just wish sometimes these players, I don't just mean here at Payet, I just mean everybody, would just wait until the two clubs have agreed a fee, which clearly they're close to doing. Just sours it a little bit, you know, I think, really.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I suppose it's part and parcel a little bit. And since you're the club on the good side of it this time, you're going to be the club benefiting. You sort of think, well, swings and roundabouts a little bit. You know, it happens. We get it with Payet, but yeah, we're going to benefit from it. So it cancels each other's out. But what about the player then? What's your thoughts on the player? Are you happy? Are you positive? Or are you thinking he's a bit moody? He's a bit old? Or
yeah, I've not seen so much of the moody stuff, so I couldn't take his personality. I think this says a lot about his personality, but he's doing the transfer thing. But in terms of a player, he looks decent. He looks a fair Premier League standard. He's a winger. He's right-footed. I think he's not afraid to use his left though. I just watched some footage of him the other day when we were initially linked with him, and I watched quite a few goals, and he took 2 or 3 of them with his left, most with the right. Big and strong. He's a good Premier League standard player. He's not going to be as prolific as Antonio, for instance. So to look at his record, he played 3 games for Inter Milan on loan to Inter Milan, was at 20, I think, under Steve McLaren possibly years ago, where to Bremen, and he signed for Stoke for £2 million, and he's done really, really well. He's been a really solid and good player for Stoke. He would improve our team, and we need a winger. He would undoubtedly improve our team.
I'm buzzing about this one. I really hope this one comes off because he plays left wing. That's what we need. We don't need a right winger. We need a left winger. It gets Lanzini in the middle. The prospect of having Arnautovic, Ayew, Lanzini, Antonio, 3 of those 4 is what we want to see. That's attacking. That's goal. Those 4 guys would get you at least 25 goals a season between them, I think, at least. They will create for the striker as well. He does have a bit of attitude. He can get grumpy. He can sometimes not track back, etc., etc. But that's what makes him the sort of maverick he is a little bit. And if he didn't have that in his game, he would be at a top 4 club because he's got the talent. There's no doubt about it. He has got the talent. But he's sort of like Antonio, but he's a bit more technical than Antonio. He's got the end product as well. He just doesn't work as hard as Antonio. And I can't see any negatives here. He's Premier League proven. I think he scored 7 last season. He's got more assists than Lanzini last season as well. This guy's got it all in his locker. And when we had the link last week, we put it on Twitter, there was a lot of Stoke fans coming at us saying, you'll never get him. He's not going to go to West Ham. And I think that shows how highly Stoke rate him, etc. Is it key that he's Premier League proven to you, Gonzo?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. We on the forum this morning there was a thread. Did you see the Lacazette thread? And the thread basically said, "Who do you think represents better value?" And my point on it was, well, we don't know what Lacazette can do. If they both produce the same, then Lacazette's better value because he's £20 million cheaper or whatever. But Lukaku is a proven Premier League goal scorer. He scores goals in the Premier League every year, and not everybody settles that comes over from a foreign country. So if you've got a player that you know is already settled, knows the league, he's not going to be afraid of the hustle and bustle. He's a big boy. He's not going to get knocked off the ball and all that sort of things. He's not bothered by the physical aspects of it one single bit. And yeah, he's got a proven track record. That's exactly right. Look, you know, I mean, we're not going to. It is a Tom's again. I had a quick look at the forum before we jumped on, and Tom was saying on there that he's the sort of player we should really be going for because he didn't go on to finish. But I think he was pretty much saying that we're not going to go and get choose your winger from a top. We're not going to go get Sanchez or somebody like that. And actually, we probably do have to start looking at picking players who are sort of the best from clubs of a similar size to us, if you know what I mean, or a similar stature.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, if anything, people are talking about Everton a lot this transfer window, and rightly so, because they're spending. This is the type of player Everton's going for. One of the best players at a club similar to them in size and where they finished recently in the league. They're going after the best players and pickpocketing the clubs around them and saying, well, we're going to weaken you and strengthen ourselves. And that's what we're doing to Stoke here. We're weakening them. And 20 million, it's not that expensive, I don't think. I used 20 million. I think that was a good deal. I think Arnautovic is an even better deal. And I'm really excited by this one. But does this now make sense? Does this now make sense to you, Gonzo, why we're maybe looking to offload Faguli for reasonably cheap, get his wages off the books, and then we can free up the wages for this guy?
Yeah, I mean, I've been quite consistent. I thought we needed a left winger for some considerable time. So I'm not surprised at all. I'm just surprised it's taken this long, but it's quite evident anybody watching it would have known from just watching us play that that's what we needed. He's certainly going to provide something. He's got a little. You talk about attitude. He's got a little something about him, a little bit of bite, a little bit of nastiness, a little bit of spark. I mean, you need a bit of that. But yeah, it would make sense. And Faguli had a very, very good last game of the season, of course. But you wouldn't suggest he has those. They are not Faguli qualities. The fight, the battle, yeah, I think it would be a very good sign, and hopefully the first of, 2 or 3, and the next 2 being strikers, of course.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, fingers crossed that happens. First, we want to know what your thoughts are on Arnautovic as well. Get your phone out, your webcam, your actual camera if you're fancy. Record yourself for 60 to 90 seconds. What's your thoughts on the link to the Stoke winger? And send it to info@hammerschat.com, and we'll put it together in a video on our second channel. All the links are below. But Gonzo, what do you think the probability of this one's happening? I mean, it's tough for us to say. He's handing his transfer request on one hand. However, I've got a feeling there's going to be bigger clubs that want him. He was linked to PSG. He was linked to AC Milan already this summer before the news of the transfer request. Does it worry you that we're going to have competition? Because so far this summer, we haven't done very well when competing with other clubs for the same player.
No, it sounds as if, as I say, he's playing that game that they play. Clearly, he knows that there was a bid by West Ham. But clearly, he knows that he's going to earn more wages at West Ham than Stoke. That can only be what it is. And it seems like he's angling for a move to West Ham. And when things tend to go down in this fashion, as we've seen with Payet, but you could take your pick. There's a number of players do this. This is very common nowadays. They do tend to go to that club. So yeah, I wouldn't. If it happens, all we got to do is negotiate with Stoke. But he's put them in that position. They're now like us, where we were with Payet. Stoke have now, probably got to accept a bid lower than his value, which they're going to be quite annoyed about. We'll be accused of sort of tapping him up, I'd imagine. Yeah, but I would imagine he will sign for us if that's the case. If it's gone this far, we'll sign him, and he'll be a good signing.
Last question, then I suppose we'll start wrapping this one up. So it's a nice quick video for people to watch. Are you surprised by this move? I mean, we've all been going for striker. I mean, it came out last week that we bid for a mystery striker for €25 million, which appears to have been a smokescreen, because then it was revealed that actually it wasn't a striker we'd gone for, and it was believed to be Arnautovic. It's looking more likely that's true. Is this move by the board surprise you? Us two West Ham fans collectively have given them a lot of criticism this last few weeks for the striker thing, but is this going to get them some sort of credit in the bank?
A little bit. Has it surprised me? No, I was surprised that Onyekuru and Traore, those stories had gone quiet. So clearly we were looking for somebody for that position. I'm glad that they've targeted a player with some pedigree, let's say. So I think it will get them some credit, but it needs to be followed up, and we need to now the striker. The striker's been going on for a long time now, but at least it will show that they're not twiddling their thumbs. I think it's important for the tour. I think it's important for the training ground, and it's just important for pre-season that Zabaletta's not the only new face in that in that canteen or in the gym when they're doing their pre-season. I think another character coming in there is all it's really good just to freshen things up sometimes, in whatever walk of life.
I think this would be a massive sign. I think it's a sign of intent a little bit. We all speak about next level. We know we're not going to next level, but like you said earlier, this is sort of in between. This is how you get there. This is what Everton are doing. You buy players that are solid investments. You know what you're getting with them. He comes in, and when at the very start of the summer, we said, no, we do not buy quantity this summer, we buy quality. Quality thing in the first 11. Now we buy this guy. That's 2 players we've now purchased this summer that can start at Man United at Old Trafford. That's 2 players at the 9. We only need 1 more, which is a striker. Granted, we need a striker on the bench as well, but we're getting there. Good. I think it'll steady the ship with the fans a little bit. They'll get a bit of a boost, at least for a few days anyway, until the striker talk comes in. But anyway, Gonzo, any last things you want to say on Arnautovic?
No, not really. It's all been a bit of a surprise. I don't mean the left winger was a surprise, but it was all very quick, wasn't it? You phoned me up and said he's handing a transfer request, and yeah, so I've not really had time to gather my thoughts on it, but I do. But my feeling is that he would be a very, very good acquisition for us, certainly. And the thing is, it often doesn't get mentioned a lot with players. Signing a good player it's not just the return you get from that player. Sometimes that player will draw extra attention from the defenders. So Arnautovic posing a threat on one side, Antonio posing a threat on another. Well, you know, the defenders can't concentrate all on Lanzini then, and vice versa. It just attracts more players and creates space for others. And I think that the more quality you can get in that attacking third, the better. And it will then go on to help whatever striker we get, because it's just been too easy for too long. You could look at West Ham and you could highlight 2 players, and if you sort of kept those guys quiet, then you would more or less keep West Ham quiet, because we're not a team that has a glut of goals from midfield. You wouldn't say Obiang, Noble, Kiate, those guys are going to provide lots and lots of goals from midfield. But I think if you suddenly had a position, like you said earlier on, but you know, where you had a sort of quartet that could get to offer 25 goals, and you've got to keep your eye on Antonio, got to keep your eye on Lanzini, got to keep your eye on Arnautovic. It's just more of a threat, and there's more space for everybody else, and that would be my feelings about it.
I think what else it does, just quickly, I think it allows, if we're struggling in a game, we can drop Lanzini centre mid, put Ayew in Lanzini's place and play Arnautovic, Ayew, and Antonio behind the striker, Lanzini behind them. But also, it gives you that option from the bench. One of those 4 would probably be on the bench. How many times last season were we looking at the bench, we were getting beaten by Snodgrass, Figuli, Fletcher, and we're like, pfft. If you had Ayew on that bench, you've got options straight away. You've got game changers on the bench. Anyway, Gonzo says this would be a very, very good purchase. I say it would be an excellent one. Let us know what you think. You can do it by getting your phone out and letting us know, or commenting below in the comment section. I will reply to every single one of you on this one, and also on our forum at hammerschat.com. But stay subscribed. But lastly, one more important question. If we do get him, will he actually replace Robert Snodgrass?